Hey guys, this is Elias with Softly, and in this video I'm going to show you how to export metabox custom fields to a CSV using WP All Export. Now, the first thing is to go here to All Export, then New Export, and then I'm going to select the post type I want to export by choosing here from this pull down. So, into this video we're going to export a post type called restaurants. And if we select that, you can see that WPL export says we have 1200 restaurants to be exported. Now, you can narrow this down because here we will have, well, all of the restaurants, of course, but let's say you only want to export the restaurants that are located in a specific place. Maybe you want to export only the restaurants that are in the state of New York, for example. So you can go here to add filtering options, and then you can choose an element from this pull down. And in my case, I'm going to scroll down until I find the metabox section. And from here, I'm going to select state. From the rule pull down, I'm going to select equals. And here on value, I'm going to type in here New York. Right? So I'm going to add this rule. I'm going to see we have here 1200 restaurants. And now we have 122 restaurants to be exported. So you can actually add multiple rules here. For example, maybe you only want to export the restaurants that have, I don't know, maybe American cuisine, right? So I'm going to add right here, American or French, or Italian or whatever, add the rule, and WPL export will keep narrowing this down until you have all of the data you want to export. Now in this example, I do want to export all of the restaurants, right? This is just to show you what's possible here. So I'm gonna delete this rule, right? So we now have 1200 restaurants, which is what we want to export in this example, right? So I'm gonna close this. And then here we have the option to migrate all of this data to another site using WPL import. You can click here and it will export all of the custom fields associated with this post type in a CSV and a zip file. Now the CSV, you can use it however you feel like, but the bundle file, meaning the zip file exported in this migrate restaurants option, you can use it with WPL import. And it will contain the CSV and another settings file that will auto-populate all of your data with WPL import. Right, so it's very useful. You can go to our website at wplimport.com, click on the docs menu, and from there you can go to the migrate section and you will find a lot more info on this feature. Now in this example, we're gonna click on the customize export file button, because we want to maybe move around some stuff and maybe change the export file a little bit. So let's do that. But first, let me show you how this actually works. And this is basically the export template. And you can think of this like your CSV, where each one of these elements, it's a column in the spreadsheet. Now, if I hit preview, you can see this a little bit more clearly, right? So we have the ID, title, and content columns. But if I drag this off of this box, then you will see that it disappears from here too. All right, so it's very straightforward. Just need to drag and drop stuff from this right panel and into this export box, and you will have your data, right? Like so. Now you can do all sorts of crazy stuff here. You can, for example, change this column name. So if I click here, we can change this to, for example, well, since they are restaurants, I'm gonna type in here name, maybe. It's good. Yeah. I'm gonna save this, and there we go. The column name has changed. Now for the content, I'm gonna call this description because content, I don't know, feels a little bit weird. I'm gonna call this description. It's good. Save, preview. There we go. It's good. Now, remember guys, we came here to export metabox custom fields. So let's get on with that by clicking here on this metabox section. And as you can see, WPL export shows us a bunch of fields, which are the fields we have here in our restaurant's post type. I'm going to show you real quick what we're dealing with here in this post type. So we have our title, description, we have a bunch of taxonomies, which we're going to export to, by the way. We have our feature image, but here it's where things get interesting because we have a bunch of tabs with our metabox custom fields. Now, all of these, map address, street, country, city, state, and neighborhood, are text fields, so they are very straightforward. But here in the details tab, we have something a little bit more interesting. We have a time picker, two actually, for the opening and closing time. Then we have this open since field, which is a date picker. Then we have our rating, which is a radio field. And I have this radio field set up with value and label. I'm going to show you guys how this looks here in Metabox, just so you have a better picture of how this works. Right? So as you can see here, I have my value, which in this case is 5, and the label, which is 5 stars. In this case, the value is 4 full stars and 1 empty one. So well, you get the idea, guys. And this is how Metabox works, right? So this is important. Where we see our data, you will see why this is relevant, right? We have our rating, then we have our cuisine, and this is a checkbox field, which means that you can select multiple ones. Then we have this dress code, which is drop down, and we have some other fields here. Now here for the media, we have an image advanced field because Metabox doesn't actually have a gallery field. It has something similar, but it's not quite the same. This works very similarly as a gallery. So we will use this image advanced field, which is around here. It's good. Image advanced. You can use this with WPL export and WPL import to export or import your gallery. Now, then we have here our price range, which is a radio field. This is a text field, and this recommended dishes, it's a repeater. If you have used maybe Jet Engine or ACF, this is pretty much the same. This is a repeater field, but in Metabox, it's called a clonable group. So you can add multiple group fields, and you can clone them, and it works as a repeater. So we have this recommended dishes repeater, and we also have another repeater for reviews. Now, this repeater in reviews has 2 text fields and a radio field. Now, this is what we got here in this video. So how about we get this data exported with WPL export? And to do that, we need to start dragging and dropping stuff like so. Now, we have added our map address. So I'm going to preview, and there we go. We have our map address. Now, we have here other street, country, state, and city and neighborhood fields. So we can go ahead and, of course, drag and drop all of them. All right. And if I hit preview, well, there you have it. We have all of the fields right here. But we already have a map address field here. It's just that this is to be used with maybe the map with Google Maps, perhaps. So this is not that friendly. So we can do something very fun here. So I'm going to take off all of these elements. All right. And then I'm going to add a new custom field, pushing on this button. Then I'm going to select custom export field. I'm going to call this address. All right. And then I'm going to type in here maybe the restaurant is located at Metabox, then street. Then I'm going to type in maybe a neighborhood. It's good. City. And state. Yeah, maybe that's... Let's try it like this. Save. Preview. There we go. The restaurant is located at 345 Park Avenue, Manhattan, New York, New York. Yeah, that's good, I believe. Maybe the last one we don't need, so we're gonna take out this state. I believe this is clear enough. Good. Preview. Better. That's good. This one is, yeah, I believe this is good. Cool, guys. So let's keep dragging and dropping stuff here. Opening time, closing time, it's good. Preview, great. This is good, but I don't know. Maybe this is not the greatest format. Maybe we can do something simpler, maybe more friendly, like we did here with this address. And so let's open this up. And in this case, we can change this date format using this UI like so. For example, we can place here GA, and WPL export will change the date format. But we can also run a quick PHP function here, which I have already. So I'm going to paste that here, and then I'm going to save this function. I'm going to copy this, right? And I'm going to enable this option that says export the value returned by a PHP function, right? So this basically means, if I enable it, that this function, it's going to affect this value field. And this value field is this one. So this function will be run in this field, right? So let's save this and see what we got. Cool. So now this restaurant opens up at 11 a.m. So this is a little bit more friendly. It's good. This is, I don't know, it's good, but let's just change that just because. So we can actually run the same function here. Save. And there we go. There you have it, guys. Opens at 11 a.m. and closes at 11 p.m. So there we go. Let's continue. Here we have the open scenes field, and this is a date field. So let's see how this looks. There we go. Now this is open since December 1st, 2016. So we can actually change that too, but we won't be using a custom PHP function for this. Maybe we just do it from here. So we can do something fun, maybe D, F, J, and Y. It's good. Let's try with those, see what we get. And there we go. Now it's more readable. That's nicer, I believe. So I'm going to leave it like that. Cool. And then we have our rating. And this is why I was telling you about the value and the label differences. So here in the details, we have 4 stars, but here in the database, it's just 5 because that's the value that's stored in the database. Here in metabox, we can configure that to be like that. So it's a very common practice. So to fix this, we can maybe add a custom field here for rating and do some static data maybe. Yeah, so we're gonna enable this custom export field, and then I'm gonna drag and drop here the rating. I'm gonna add a space, and then I'm gonna type in here stars. Now I'm gonna call this rating. All right, save, preview, and there we go. 5 stars, 2 stars, 3 stars, 4 stars, and so on and so forth. So this is nicer, right? Now let's continue. We have here our dress code. This is a select field, so we won't be doing much here. So I believe I'm gonna leave it like that. Then we have some the executive chef, the phone number, website, gallery, and here for the gallery, you can see here, guys, it's exporting the actual URLs of our images. So if I copy this and open it in my browser, you will see the image shows up here because that's the path to the image in our site, right? So we can choose to export the image in maybe as a media URL, or maybe the media ID, maybe the file name. That's up to you guys, right? So I'm gonna save this, continue. Here we have our price range, and this is pretty much the same as our other radio fields. This is the value from the database, but the way we have this in metabox is like so. Here it is. You can see a bunch of dollar signs indicating how expensive it is, right? But we can choose not to use this price range element because we have here another element we can use, which is average price, right? So this average price, if it's 2, it has 20 and over. If this one, it has 4, then it's 40 and over. So we don't need this field, right? So I'm gonna drag this off, right? And keep average price, right? Then we have the recommended dishes, which is a repeater. So we're gonna see how this data looks. And as you can see here, we have 3 columns for the recommended dishes. First, we have the name of the dish. Then we have the description, right? You can see they are separated with pipes. So this description is a description of the BBQ ribs, right? And this is the price of that dish. Then this second one is the one for the second element, and so on and so forth. So we can actually leave it like this, but we can also play around with some of the options here for repeater groups. So we have this option to display each repeater row in its own CSV line. I'm going to enable this, and I'm going to save this just to show you how this looks, right? Preview. And here we have our BBQ ribs, but we no longer have any of the other dishes next to it, right? We have the BBQ ribs, then here is the description for that dish, and here's the price for that dish. Now, if I scroll down a little bit, you will find the other dishes that were recommended for this restaurant. So we have here our buffalo wings, and each one of these dishes is in its own CSV row. However, we can see that all of this data is empty. So what we're going to do is to fill these columns with some actual data, right? So I'm going to open this up again, and I'm going to enable this option that says fill in empty columns, right? So I'm going to save this, preview again, and here we have our BBQ ribs, then these clams, and we have here all of the other data, right? Same here with these buffalo wings, right? So this is pretty neat. So I'm going to leave it like that because I want these dishes to be separated in different rows, right? So I'm going to dismiss this. Lastly, I'm going to drag and drop my reviews. Now, these reviews are a repeater field too, which means that you can do the same and you can export each one of these rows in a separate CSV line. But I don't think it's that necessary in this example. I don't even want to export this field, but I'm just going to leave it like that so you can see it works, but we don't actually need these reviews in this example, right? So I'm going to dismiss this, and then we only need 2 more things. Maybe the taxonomies, which are up here, cuisine, booking speed, and availability. And then we need our featured image, which is not included in the gallery because remember guys, we have our gallery from the image advanced field in metabox. So I'm going to drag and drop here the featured image, right? So I'm going to preview this, and I believe it's looking really good, but I want to tidy this a little bit up. So I'm going to drag and drop this image featured next to the gallery, and then this availability field, I believe it's very relevant. So I'm going to drag this to the beginning of the file. Same with the cuisine, which I actually have the cuisine twice, so I don't need this. Drag it off. Booking speed, this is very relevant too, so this should be up here. Opening and closing times are very relevant too, so I'm going to drag this up here. And the cuisine, I believe that's very, very important. So, yeah, I believe this makes sense. It's good. Name, description, cuisine, availability, booking speed, opening time, address, website, image featured. Yeah, I believe we have everything we came here for. So I'm going to dismiss this, and I'm going to continue with our export. Now here we have some advanced options, and this is basically if you want to maybe change the delimiter in the CSV. And remember guys, CSV stands for comma separated values. So I don't know, if you want to, you can do that here. You can change that to a semicolon, to whatever you want to use. And you can decide whether you want to include the header row with the columns or not. That's up to you, right? Now here we have the export type, and here we can change the CSV type, which is compatible with any spreadsheet-like software, like Numbers, Excel, Google Sheets, OneDrive, and whatnot. So you can read this CSV file with Excel, but if you want to export this in one of the Excel formats, you can do that too. Or you can, of course, export this in XML. And if I hit preview, you can see we have the exact same data. Even the columns we changed the name of are changed to. We have here our functions running. We have the address field, which we built with a custom export field. It keeps working, and everything else will be working too, just in XML. Now in this example, I'm gonna stick with the CSV type, right? But if you want to know more about the other export types, you can just check out the other videos in our channel or go to our website at wplimport.com. All right, so I'm gonna continue. All right, and here, this is the last step, guys. So WPL export says like, oh, hey, we're ready to export. Just give us the green light and we will export these 1,200 restaurants. But before you do that, we have here some options for you. Now, they are all very important, but I'm gonna just go over them so you can know what they do, right? Now, first we have the scheduling options, and this is useful if you want to run this export automatically on a schedule. Maybe you want to export these restaurants once a week, maybe see if the rating has changed, or maybe you only want to export this file for the comments, the reviews of the clients. Or I don't know, guys, you can have your reasons for scheduling your exports, but if you want to do it, well, you can use, for example, the automatic scheduling options, the automatic scheduling service, which has a price of $9 a month, and it will allow you to set up your schedule here. For example, if you want to run this Mondays at 12 a.m., that's it. Just run this export, and it will run the next Monday at 12 a.m. So that's cool. Now you can also use cron jobs, and this is free, so that's up to you. Just click here on this link, and you will be taken to our docs where you can learn more about how to use cron jobs in WPL export, right? Now, we're not gonna do that in this example, but that's just so you know you can. So I'm gonna close this up. Cool. And here we have an option to export each restaurant in real time as they are created. So if someone comes along and creates a new restaurant here in your site, well, this export will run automatically and export that single restaurant on its own, right? Then we have this option to export restaurants only once. And this is neat in case, for example, let's say you only want to export the restaurants that you have added this week for some reason. So you enable this. And the next time you run this export, well, these 1,200 restaurants won't be exported. Maybe if you created 10 new restaurants, those 10 new restaurants are the ones that are going to be exported. All right, so then we have this option to export restaurants that have been modified since the last export. Yeah, some of them closed or changed the opening and closing times, maybe, and you have changed that on your site since the last time you ran this export. Well, if you did that and enable this, WPL export will export only those restaurants that have been modified. Now, all of these options are pretty much self-explanatory. Just read that, and if you have doubts, just hover on the question marks, and it will give you a more detailed description of what that option does. We have finally here a very cool one, which is the ability to run this export with client mode. Now, if you don't know what client mode is, you can go here to settings, right? And scroll down a little bit, and you will find these client mode options. Now, what this does is basically give permission to, say, the editors and the authors, and maybe the subscribers to use specific exports. Now, if I enable this here, this export will be able to run in client mode, which means that if you log in here with an editor or author or subscriber account, you will be able to see here the all export menu, and you will be able to run this restaurant's export. Now, you won't be able to actually edit this export, and you won't be able to run the PHP functions. You won't be able to do anything in this export. Just run it and get your file. That's it. The reason we do it like this is because the ability to run PHP functions in your export is very powerful, guys. If we let any user have this ability, they can very easily run a script to make themselves admin and do all sorts of dangerous stuff in your site. And well, I don't think anyone will want that, right? This is why WPL export can only be run by admins. But in case you want to give permission to someone that's not an admin to run an export, you can do it with client mode. Right? So we have everything we need, and all of these settings, I'm gonna leave them as they are. So I'm just gonna confirm and run this export, and this is gonna be very fast, all right? So we're just gonna let WPL export run, all right? And there we go. That's it. All of our 1,200 restaurants have been exported. Now I can click here and download my CSV. All right. And here is our data. Now you will notice that this Delight Dinner and this Harbor House is repeated. And remember, that's because of our recommended dishes repeater, right? But apart from that, we have our name description, then with cuisine, availability, booking speed, opening times, closing times with the PHP function we ran. Then we have our address field with the static data and the different elements we combined to make the address. Open scenes, we have the new format, which is nicer, their ratings, and well, all of the other data seems to be here, guys. So I believe this is very successful. Now, if you want, you can also download this bundle, and this bundle is the file I was telling you about, which is a zip file with the CSV and some configurations to be used with WPL import. Now, if you download this and open WPL import and upload that file, well, WPL import will map automatically all of the data you exported, right? So that's pretty neat. Then we have here again the scheduling options in case you want to actually do it from here. You can do that too. Good. Then we have this external apps tab, and this is basically Zapier. And I don't know if I mentioned it before, guys, but WPL export has a direct integration with Zapier. And this is pretty neat because this means that you can connect WPL export with over 1,000 apps in Zapier. For example, you can, I don't know, you can get your file and email it every time this export runs. Now, try combining that with the scheduling options, and you have a ton of possibilities there. For example, you can have this file exported once a week, and once a week, that file it's gonna get emailed to you. And then you can also, I don't know, make an HTTP request or do, I don't know, pretty much whatever you want with Zapier. We have a great video here explaining how to do it, so make sure to watch it if this is something that interests you, right? Then we have here the export, edit, import option, and this is cool because you can download your CSV, modify it using Numbers or Google Sheets or Excel or whatever editing software you're using. Then you can import that same file with the edits using WPL import. Now, guys, I believe we have covered pretty much everything. We only have this secure URL element left. And this is cool because if I click here, generate, right, WPL export will generate a secure URL. Now, this URL, you can share it with someone maybe. If they need to use this file for whatever, they can just paste it in their browser. And there you go. We have downloaded a new copy of the export file. Now, what's cool about this URL is that it will download the latest possible export file, right? So there you go. That's it, guys. This is how you export metabox custom fields to a CSV using WP All Exports. Now, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to learn more about how to import or export other metabox data, or maybe if you're using Jet Engine or ACF to handle your post types and custom fields, well, you can check out the other videos in our channel or go to our website at wpallimport.com, where you will find more info on that and a ton of other fun stuff, right? So hope you like this video, and see you next time.